want to ask you all one simple question. Are you digitally curious? Now, I don't want a show of hands, we're going to do it old school. Can I invite you all to stand up, please? Who here uses two-factor authentication on all of your social media channels? And final question, to see how digitally curious you are, who here has bought some Bitcoin? I've got one, three in the room, fantastic. Give yourselves a round of applause, that's great. There are 6 things that are simple to do, and they are 6 things that people with a growth mindset do. They're digitally curious, and they do these things to work out how they work. Because if you remember nothing from my talk this afternoon, you have to disrupt yourselves, or you'll be disrupted. Every time I see that video, I'm amazed with Arthur's forethought. In 1974, he essentially predicted the internet. But the problem was, Arthur was looking at things 30 years in the distance. You don't have 30 years. You don't have 30 months, you may not even have 30 weeks. You need to know, what can I do today, tomorrow, next week to embrace digital and stop us getting disrupted? So you need a practical futurist, that's what I am. And I guarantee you this afternoon, you will leave with 4 or 5 things that you can do personally to become more digitally curious and embrace this new digital world. I think disruption happens because of 3 main forces. First of all, it's a profitable business. Like your business, the taxi industry, media, hotels, there are profits to be made, and disruptors see that and they say, we'd like a piece of that. The second reason is new technologies. The fact I can stand here on stage and order a parcel and pay for it with my phone has become commonplace, and disruptors use these new technologies to access those profits. And the third thing is consumer demands. Who here has an Amazon Prime account? Most people. You're one of 100 million people globally that pay between $50 and $100 a year to have same-day, next-day service. And I don't know about you, but when I go online and I can't get it on Prime and it's going to take 2 or 3 days, I go, well, why? And I've had to deal with someone that's not Amazon, and I've got to give them my credit card again, and then it's going to take 3 or 4 days, and I can't track it. I go, Amazon just make it so much easier. So think about in your business, where are these 3 forces at work, and where might disruptors play, and where might you play to disrupt yourself and actually attack some of those profitable areas? But the one thing they rolled out that was a game changer was Apple Card. Apple are launching a credit card, and they're doing it with Goldman Sachs. But I think Apple Card will be a game changer, not just for the financial services industry, but it's something you should look at in your industry as well. What would happen if Apple, Google, or Amazon entered our market? This is what's happening. Now, they're going to do it, and they've got 1 billion devices out there as an addressable market. So Bezos needed 3 things he didn't have to pay for: transportation system, payment system, and a communications network. They're already there. What do you have that's already there that you can build on top of without having to go and make it or buy it or build it? Now, in every room, in every group, in every team, I think there are 3 types of people. There are the prayers. They're just praying this is going to go away, this whole digital thing is all too hard, I don't want to invest in it, I don't want to understand it, I'm going to retire soon or switch industries, I just want it to go away. Then there are the stayers. Stayers like Teresa are just staying the course. The final group, though, I want you to be invited to join this group. These are the players. I want you all to be players, leading forward when we talk about digital. If the product is free, the product is me. Why is Facebook free? Because they hoover up data. And this time last year, when Cambridge Analytica scandal broke and GDPR hit, it was a perfect storm. And because it hit the front page, consumers are now saying, Facebook did what with my data? I think what's going to happen, though, that all this data is just going to become overwhelming for a human being to cope with. And I think we'll see the rise of what I call the digital agents. Now, you think about it. Your mobile phone knows everything about you. It knows your next appointment. It knows where you are. It knows what your bank balance is. This isn't some flashy concept video. If you have a Google Pixel 3 in America, this is available now. Now, the technology is still developing, but the fact that I can solve that last mile problem of ringing the restaurant and making a booking, you saw how the AI assistant had to negotiate, ask qualifying questions. This is here now. I've had a mantra for about 30 years. That is, to get digital, you need to be digital. By that I mean you need to lean forward. You need to be one of those players saying, let's pick this apart. Let's understand why this works. And I'm going to invite you to pull your phones out now, because my next slide is my most photographed slide. I call it the scary slide. It's a bunch of words, a bunch of jargon, but I put it to you that everything that you see on this slide will impact and disrupt your business in the next 18 months. So yes, the underlying technology, blockchain, has promise, but Bitcoin has been a massive failure because it was never designed to be a currency. Your value to an organization isn't what you know, it's what you share. And I saw this firsthand. Now, I know you work in probably 2 or 3 offices, and IBM had 200 offices. But if I put on the internal platform, I'm putting together a presentation for all London, who's worked with them, I'd have someone in another office go, I met with them last week, here's the slide deck I used. Oh, let me know how it went. And I want to set you a challenge. If you want to see what it's like to work in an agile way, in a collaborative way, take your team to a WeWork or a serviced office space for a week. It's going to cost you about £1,000. What'll happen day one, you'll turn up like this, and all the other startup dudes go, hello, where are you from? I'm from rural London. What do you do? Oh, I've got this amazing idea about how I can crunch numbers and help you with your pensions. Oh, tell me more. Day two, you'll dress down. You'll then get a sense of what it's like to work in an environment where everything happens at the speed of digital. And without you actually putting yourself into that environment, you can't experience it. In every team, if you're going to be innovative, you also have to have a team that thinks digitally. You need at least one person on your team that knows what that scary slide means and can translate that. So think about that, seeing things through a digital lens. So when someone mentions blockchain, and I've just read about blockchain, it's the future, and you go, well, hang on a sec, 7 transactions a second, should we really look at this in more detail? Here's one way you can actually involve your young leaders, your millennials. You can have a hackathon. Who here knows what a hackathon is? It's basically a way to solve business problems. You get a room like this, some beer, Wi-Fi and pizza, and you lock them in the room for 24 hours and you say, go, solve this business problem. And you know what? They sometimes come up with crazy ideas that actually work. And then what you do is you make sure that your business leaders are also coming in and seeing what's going on and getting involved. And then the millennials feel valued. They're listening to us. These young leaders aren't just called young leaders, they're actually helping to solve real business problems. A few things for next week. Check, have I been pwned, to see how many of your passwords or email addresses have been stolen. Cross off those things on the scary slide. Go and hit up Noel for some funds to do something funky. And remember, you need to disrupt yourselves or you'll be disrupted. Thank you very much.